You keep thinking it can't get any lower with Trump, and then it does. My name is Brittany Page, and this is the Page Perspective. We now have fewer than 20 days until the election. I'm hearing from many of you that early voting has started, that you have already voted. If you have, thank you. If you haven't, I hope you have a plan. I hope you're ready to go. And I also hope, since I keep repeating that word, that you are paying attention to what's at stake. We have Donald Trump and we have Kamala Harris. And for me, that juxtaposition could not be more stark. From Donald Trump's calls to end birthright citizenship and round up immigrants for mass deportation, or his use of Palestinian as a slur and wishes for Israel to finish the job in Gaza, or surrounding himself with the most radical people who want to restrict abortion further. We are all the time reminded of how bad things can get. But we also have this other element of Donald Trump, the abject cruelty and disinterest in the plight of others. Every day we see the consequences of a Donald Trump administration, particularly as it relates to abortion. I recently covered the reporting from ProPublica, which unearthed the first confirmed deaths from abortion bans as a result of Roe being overturned, and Donald Trump appointing 3 Supreme Court justices to do that very thing. The first death was a woman named Amber Nicole Thurman. And if you want in-depth coverage of her tragic story, please go watch my video from a few weeks ago. What you need to know now for the context of this disgusting statement from Donald Trump is that she died as a result of Donald Trump's efforts to ban abortion, and she left behind a 6-year-old son. While Donald Trump was filming a town hall focused on women's issues before an all-women audience for Fox News, Amber Nicole Thurman's family made their own appearance, which the media has called a prebuttal, to talk about how Amber's death was preventable. Her family spoke alongside other figures encouraging people to vote for Kamala Harris. Fox News host Harris Faulkner begins the Fox town hall here with Donald Trump by telling him about this prebuttal and the appearance from Amber Nicole Thurman's family, and this is his response.
I want to share with you Senators Warnock and Ossoff, Mayor Bottoms and Atlanta Mayor Bottoms, and Amber Thurman's family have come out on a press call, and they're doing what's called a prebuttal to our town hall right now.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and I want to
get better ratings, I promise.
Disgusting. And the room laughs. And Harris Faulkner, the grin on her face, as the Republican candidate for President of the United States jokes that he will get better ratings than the family of a dead woman in Georgia. Think about Amber Thurman's son hearing that. Think of her 6-year-old son hearing that room erupt with laughter as the Republican candidate for president mocks the death of his mother. I have so many times in my life sat here and asked, what are we doing here? But I have to ask it again. What are we doing here? The depravity of that man, the depravity of that room, the depravity of Harris Faulkner. But this sends an important message to women, right? I mean, not the women in that room, not Harris Faulkner, but other women. Donald Trump does not care if his abortion bans have caused you to carry a non-viable pregnancy to term, to deliver a dead baby. He does not care if you've been met with caution from your medical team when experiencing a medical emergency because they're afraid to lose their medical license or go to jail should they provide you with necessary medical care. He does not care if you have been forced to carry an unwanted pregnancy and birth a child that you did not want or cannot afford to take care of. He doesn't care if you died because you couldn't get access to care. He doesn't care. In fact, he thinks it's a punchline for an audience. To disregard the death of Amber Thurman, the pain of her family, her 6-year-old child, to an audience of laughter? I have to say, you guys, it's enraging, and I don't fully have the words to describe my rage. But I want to highlight 2 more parts of this because another story I've been following is the Republican efforts to ban abortion nationwide, which they will do regardless of what they may claim. should they win this election, either through the Comstock Act or their attempts to use the 14th Amendment to ensure a fetus or embryo are they're considered people. This is known as the Fetal Personhood movement, and I plan to do an in-depth video on this coming soon. But you may remember a few months ago when the Alabama Supreme Court ruled that frozen embryos were unborn children, and they temporarily halted IVF services in the state. And even though that was temporary, I hope you know this is where things are headed. And Donald Trump knows that. So he has to play to the audience because IVF is wildly popular. And if Republicans were honest about their, personhood for embryos goals, they wouldn't get very far. So here is Donald Trump's response to being asked about his position on IVF.
I got a call from Katie Britt, a young, just a fantastically attractive person from Alabama. She's a senator. And she called me up like emergency. Because an Alabama judge had ruled that the IVF clinics were illegal and they have to be closed down. A judge ruled. And she said, friends of mine came up to me and they were so angry. I didn't even know they were going, it's fertilization. I didn't know they were even involved in it. Nobody talks about it. They don't talk about it. But now that they can't do it, she said, I was attacked. In a certain way, I was attacked. And I said, explain IVF very quickly. And within about 2 minutes, I understood it. I said, no, we're totally in favor of IVF.
Many things. First, the most important thing he wants you to know is that Katie Britt is hot. That's the most important thing. It's the most important quality that he sees in a woman. Are you attractive? You have worth. Are you not attractive? You're worthless to Donald Trump. Then he needed to have IVF explained to him. And he's just admitting that on a stage. By the way, I'm desperate for someone to ask him what the I and the V stands for, because he keeps calling it just fertilization. We know that you have that part down, Donald, but what about the rest? And I love this promo for this town hall, and this is the final clip that I'm going to show, because the Republican attempts on the part of conservatives to separate so-called economic issues like the price of groceries or childcare from the issue of abortion, it's laughable. But here is Fox News host Ainsley Earhardt previewing the upcoming town hall with Harris Faulkner.
I thought it was so smart of him to sit down with women, and I'm so anxious to see this. I'll be watching today at 11. Women are concerned about so many things. We're the ones who do the grocery shopping most of the time. So putting food on our table, the cost of all the groceries, and also, don't you remember when you became a mother, how expensive child care costs is? And I know a voter asked a question.
Much more now.
That's true. All right, listen to this. This was a voter in the audience asking about child care.
Those things, Ainsley, are directly related to abortion. Abortion is an economic issue. Whether or not someone has control over their reproduction is essential for poverty reduction. If a person cannot afford a child, they're going to struggle. And that child is also going to struggle. And I watched this entire town hall, and there were some good questions, including one from a single mom who wanted to know what Trump would do to make life more affordable for parents, for kids. He didn't have an answer because he does not care. He was born on a pile of money, and he cannot relate to going to the store and worrying about whether the card will go through, like I have, like you probably have, right? I remember going to the store when I was a kid, and we were on food stamps, and it was in the before times when you had to tell the cashier up front whether you were using debit or food stamps. And I swear to God, when the cashier would ask my mom that question, it would go like this. Now, will that be debit or food stamps? As I'm sitting there as a kid with my red face, hoping no one from school could see me or hear what was happening. Donald Trump has not experienced that. Let's not continue to reward this man with power. I know I'm doing all I can to ensure that he is not rewarded with power again, and I hope you are too. What do you think? Call me and tell me at 657-464-7609 or send an email to idoubitit@dollemore.com. You can support my work here on YouTube by becoming a channel member for as little as $1.99 a month or by going to patreon.com/idoubtitpodcast. Fewer than 20 days. Please tell me in the comments where you're from and whether you voted. If you haven't voted, please share your voting plan. Let's build community in the comments and make sure we are prepared for this election. Take care, and I will see you next time.